Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you are doing, you are safe, you are well, and you are with people you care about who also care for you. It is now spring, the planting has begun, and I suspect you can tell from my big smile that I have lots of cool things to share with you today in the garden. So let's start here. I have made a decision to change how things are ordered in my garden, and that means I'm going to be digging up this lovely lemon balm here, and I'm going to put it in a pot. I'm going to move my rosemary and my sage and my thyme and my oregano, or oregano, whichever way you want to put it. I'm going to move my chives. I'm going to open up this bed as a proper plant growing bed, as opposed to an herb garden. The herb garden will get moved closer to the house, maybe in pots, so I can bring it in the winter and hope get some more sustainable herb growth throughout the year. Over here, last weekend, I put in some peas. And in the past years, what I've done is I've taken the peas and I have put them in pots, and I've grown them in pots. And then when it's time to put them out in the garden, I've put them out in the garden. Now, so far, I've had mixed success with that for two reasons. One, when I was growing the peas in the greenhouse, critters were getting into the plant pots and eating the seeds. And two, the peas didn't really like being in pots and then transplanted. You can do it, but I found that they didn't develop very good roots. So this time around, what I decided to do was slightly different. I put the pea seeds in the ground as they are now, and I put the fava beans or the broad beans in the ground as they are now, and then on this side I've got some shelling peas. And because I really suck at figuring out what things are, I actually came up with this. I've got some 3D printed labels that I made myself. I ran this off in about 10 minutes in Fusion 360, and then I customized the text. The text itself is actually glow in the dark, which is very silly. It's just what I happen to have in the printer. But these can be reused every year, and it's nothing too toxic. It's a PLA print, and it should survive the summer, and then I can redo it again in the winter. Shouldn't get too much direct sunlight because we have shade here. But then what I've done is I've put a little marker all around so I know exactly what is growing. So right here, for example, these are broad beans or fava beans, Windsor, and I've got a little thing in here so I know exactly what they are. Now, I've been gardening long enough that I can tell the difference between a pea and a bean when it comes out of the ground, but I sometimes forget what I've planted where, and then I forget exactly which variety of pea or bean I have planted. Now, fava beans, broad beans, are very easy because they look like that, right? This is one from last year that survived the winter. They look like that. It's pretty obvious to see what they are. But peas, not so much. One pea looks very much like another pea. Edible peas and sweet peas sometimes look very similar. So what I did was I had some chicken wire in the shop, which was 1/2 inch chicken wire. And what I've done is I've laid chicken wire over the top of the ground and then weighted it down with these pavers, and hopefully that will stop the mice from getting in and eating peas. Now, they could get in the far corner, and I'm sure some have, but they don't really like clamoring over that. They're not particularly au fait with that. And we've not yet got to a point in the year where I think a lot of mice are expecting to find nice legumes in the ground. So hopefully that will work. And I've spaced it so that the bottom layer and the top layer are offset by 1/2 inch. At least that's the plan. So then what we have is like this tougher time for the little mice getting in and out. Meanwhile, over here, we have some white onions and some red onions, and I do need to put some markers in here so I remember which ones are which. And then I put these in as the rows where I want to put in first radishes and then carrots. So where there is a stick, that means that's a row I need to plant, and the offset rows are where my onions are. Again, I did this all on last weekend, so I've been busy. I haven't cleared all of my beds yet, but that's a problem for future Nikki. This weekend I'm going to be busy with family stuff, so I'm probably not going to get a whole lot of gardening done. But again, that is okay. Another thing I need to decide what to do here is that some of my strawberries have escaped. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig up these strawberries that have escaped and put them somewhere else, because I don't necessarily want my strawberries in the grass. Although that's kind of cool, I might move some of those strawberries and put them up by the coop. The other thing I want to show you is that greenhouse planting has begun. I haven't done my new cover yet, but if you look down here, you'll see again, these are just some labels that I've made on my 3D printer, and then in here, I can give this one a little shake, because it's a little warm. Look at that. Oh my goodness, these have come up. So I checked this morning and the tomatoes, they weren't up yet. But now we have many tomato seeds that are coming out of the ground. So you can see lots of different varieties of tomatoes. I don't think we have any tomatillos coming up yet. I'm just looking to see if there are any of the tomatillos have come up. But it's nice and warm. There's some good watering, some good water there. I've tried not to overwater them. I have actually kept the lids closed to try and keep it nice and humid. And again in here, these are peppers and tomatillos in this one, if memory serves correctly. And they will take a little bit longer to come up, because they do. And once they come up, I'm going to fertilise the heck out of my peppers this year. That's going to be part of my ploy. But you'll see here, I'm using these little jump start heaters, and I've got a power cable that's running back to the back of the house. And that helps me grow some of my plants and make sure that they grow properly. Now it's important to shake these off so you don't damp off the soil. But here, I don't think there's anything growing here yet. We have celery. We have different types of celery, and then we also have some more tomatillo in the far corner. I've basically, so I have a shame. I'm not saying that I'm a seed hoarder, but I'm not saying that I am a seed hoarder. I think I showed you it last week, my stash of shame. And so I ended up building this massive database of all of the different seeds I have when I wanted to plant them, and now I've got like this planting pattern that I can do this year. So down here you'll see all the plants that I purchased the previous week. They haven't gone in yet. I've been prioritizing seeds, but you can see things are growing really nicely here. We've got our lupins coming up. We've got some more strawberries here. And then around here, I don't think anything is growing around here, but you can see this cable runs all the way around to the back of the house, and it plugs in to our AC port back here. So this is the 80, this is the one for the server room, this is the one for the house, this is my wife's shop, and then that's where the power is coming. And it makes it much easier to keep those seeds growing and happy, because I don't have to worry about cold weather, because we have got down to below freezing once this week. Not a ground frost or an air frost, but nearly. I don't think it did get too freezing, but it got very close to freezing. So yeah, you want to be able to start your seeds off at a sensible time, but you also want to make sure that you don't start them off too soon. Anyway, tell me what's going on in your garden. I have a bunch of stuff I need to do this week. I need to cut my honeysuckle, I need to cut my ornamental grass, I need to put more seeds in. I also put parsnips in. They're off camera over there. I'm not going to show you them because parsnips take forever to germinate. I'll show you when they germinate. But tell me in the down below what's going on in your garden. And of course, thank you to the amazing list of people scrolling by on the screen right now. They are the reason we're still here. They are the reason we are still making content. And they're the reason that we will continue to be here for a long time to come, I hope. If you want to join them, you can do so from $1.50 a month on Patreon. You can also send us money on Ko-fi. You can send us an old-fashioned check. You can go visit our swag store and buy one of our cool t-shirts. I'm not wearing one right now because I've just finished filming 10. So I'm actually wearing just a vest underneath, or a tank top, black tank top underneath. That's what I normally wear when I'm wearing the jacket. So I'm wearing that underneath. But I'm also self-conscious of showing my arms, my bare arms. So I grabbed this before I came out to film. Anyway, tell me what's going on in your garden. Thank you for being the positive change you want to see in the world. Remember to tell the important people in your life that they are important to you, and I will see you this time next week. As always, keep evolving.